The transmission. The message came in the dead of night. At listening post EOS 17, buried beneath the Martian crust, a board technician named Hollis sipped synthetic coffee and scanned routine transmissions from deep space. Most were static, trade comms, or alien dialects Earth's linguists had long cataloged. But this one made his hands go still. A child's voice. Weak, broken. English. Please someone help. They took my sister. We're cold. They make us dig, hurts to breathe. The transmission ended in static, but Hollis had already hit the emergency flag. Within hours, the signal reached United Earth Command in Geneva. Analysts ran diagnostics. No trickery, no fakes. The voice was real. Human. A child no older than 10. The origin. A mining colony registered to the Galactic Empire, located in the Virex system, 93 light-years from Earth. More came in. Fragments. Screams. Coughing. Alien voices barking orders. Chains. Whips. A name, whispered. Zerith 9. And then the video arrived. A low-resolution drone feed, smuggled through a civilian merchant ship and broadcast from a rebel data node on the outer rim. It showed cages, rows of them. Children, hundreds of them. Dirty, emaciated, eyes hollow with trauma. Some too weak to stand. Others with cybernetic implants jammed into their spines, forced into automated mining rigs. Human children. Earthborn. Kidnapped. Sold. Earth's social net caught fire. The footage leaked within minutes. By dawn, half the planet had seen it. Billions watched in silence, parents gripping their children tighter, veterans reactivating their service chips, civilians flooding enlistment servers. Protests swelled across every major city. But in Geneva, the silence was darker. President Amina Volkova sat at the war table, eyes shadowed. Around her, Earth's top military minds waited. Admiral Reyes of the Terran Defense Fleet, Director Moss of the Intelligence Corps, General Saito from Planetary Forces. Each held the same storm behind their eyes. We always knew they were hiding something, Reyes said coldly. The Empire claimed the children vanished in border skirmishes. That was 5 years ago, and they've been using them like livestock. Moss added, voice shaking. We have confirmed DNA scans. One of the boys was taken from New Kyoto. Another from Cape Town. General Saito rose, pointing at the live feed of Zerith 9. We have fleet intel. No significant defenses. Just private contractors and automated sentries. We hit them hard, fast. Pull the kids out. No, Volkova's voice was firm. Final. This doesn't stop at Zerith 9. The room went still. She stood, tapping the embedded data slab at the center of the table. Dozens of red dots flared across the galaxy map. Suspected trafficking nodes, labor colonies, suspected auction hubs. All tied to the Empire. They took our children. Not by accident. Not by desperation. By design. For profit. For dominance. Volkova's voice was fire now. No longer a politician, but a mother, a general, a war leader. Diplomacy ends here. Madam President, Reyes asked, carefully, are you initiating Ragnarok protocol? I am. There were no cheers. Only grim nods. Project Ragnarok had been theoretical for decades. Earth's doomsday response in case of genocidal threat. It wasn't just war. It was annihilation. The doctrine, 0 prisoners. 0 delay. Hit hard. Hit first. Leave only warnings. We mobilize 3 fleets, Reyes said, switching into command mode. Alpha to Zerith 9. Bravo to known slave trade sectors. Charlie stays defensive in Seoul. We deploy the Ghost Wolves. Deep recon and extraction. Make sure the universe sees what we find, Moss added. They hid behind diplomacy. No more shadows. No more lies. Volkova walked to the window, watching Earth spin silently below. When this is over, she said, almost to herself, the Empire will wish they had never heard the name human. Then she turned, eyes lit with fury. Burn their stars. Vengeance launched. The TSS Valiant, pride of the Terran Defense Fleet, emerged from warp above Zerith 9, a jagged, industrial planet choking in its own dust. No stars twinkled here, just clouds of ash and orbital debris left by decades of strip mining. But what chilled Admiral Reyes wasn't the terrain. It was what waited on the surface. In his command deck, Reyes watched his fleet form up in silence. 9 warships, 2 carriers, and a dozen escort destroyers. Each hull bore black stripes, the official mark of Ragnarok deployment. No quarter, no surrender, no forgiveness. Status? Reyes asked. Ghost Wolves prepped, said Commander Lee, landing in 90 seconds. We're jamming all off-world communications. No one's calling for help. Good. Reyes turned to the holomap. No survivors except human children. No records left intact. They'll learn who they provoked. The Ghost Wolves, Earth's elite Black Ops unit, dropped in hard and fast. Their stealth shuttles pierced the atmosphere and slammed into the dusty terrain like meteor strikes. Clad in adaptive exosuits, the soldiers advanced through industrial trenches, plasma rifles raised. No hesitation, no warnings. Corporal Juno kicked down a metal gate and swept the hall with infrared. Movement. 6 signatures. Small. Low heat. Likely children. The team breached. Inside, 6 children huddled in a dark cell, their faces sunken and bruised. A boy flinched as light hit his face, eyes darting from soldier to soldier in terror. It's okay, Juno said softly, kneeling. You're safe now. We're from Earth. We're here to take you home. The boy whispered, They said you forgot us. Juno froze. They said Earth didn't care anymore. In a command center above orbit, Reyes watched the Ghost Wolves feed stream to every Terran vessel and back to Earth. Within hours, over 3 billion people were watching live as soldiers broke open cages, carried limp bodies, injected medical nanobots into frail arms, and laid down flags over piles of burnt shackles. Broadcast the interrogation, Reyes ordered. On screen, a captured overseer, an alien of the Kalzari species, was strapped to a wall. Slime oozed from its wounds. General Saito questioned it personally. Where are the other children? They go to markets, to richer worlds, the creature hissed. They fetch high price. Your kind is deficient. Good for labor. Some for sport. Sato's jaw clenched. He looked to the nearby Marine and nodded. The Marine pulled the trigger. No hesitation. Reyes didn't blink. Prepare orbital strike package. Targeting mining grid Alpha through Epsilon, Lee confirmed. 30,000 square kilometers. Evacuation complete. Do it. From orbit, a swarm of tungsten rods fell like the fist of God. Impact tremors shattered the crust. Mining towers collapsed like dominoes. Entire grid networks vanished beneath artificial earthquakes. The sky over Zereth, 9 lit red. Surviving Empire defenders scrambled. Patrol cruisers lifted off. Planetary cannons charged. But Earth had brought war to their doorstep, and humanity was very, very good at war. The Valiant's railguns tore through the atmosphere like thunder, firing solid slugs faster than light. Enemy shields crumpled. Armor shattered. Imperial ships tried to flee, only to find their warp engines disabled by Terran AI viruses already embedded in the commnet. Within 12 minutes, it was over. Reyes stood before a projected image of a captured Imperial officer, tied in chains, eyes full of disbelief. You knew, Reyes said coldly. Didn't you? The officer didn't speak. You knew what your empire did to our children. And you did nothing. Still no answer. Reyes leaned forward. This wasn't a military target. You didn't just invade a colony. You didn't fight soldiers. You stole our future. Our sons. Our daughters. The officer finally spat. We are the Empire. You are lesser. You are prey. Reyes straightened. Not anymore. He cut the feed. Earth's war fleets regrouped in orbit. Hundreds of children had been rescued. Medical ships deployed. Human survivors wept as they saw the Terran banners raised over their prison camps. At Earth's capital, millions gathered in silent vigil as the footage played across the sky domes. And when the children stepped onto Earth's soil once more, the world stood still. A girl named Naomi, no older than 8, looked into the cameras with tears streaming down her cheeks and said, Please, help the others. There's still more of us out there. President Volkova watched the feed from her office, hands clenched behind her back. Then she turned to her council. Find every camp, every market, Every world. No child left behind. No slaver left alive. Her voice dropped to a whisper that carried like thunder. We don't stop. Not until they beg us to. The Scorched Stars campaign. The war had become something else. It was no longer about retaliation. It was purge. What began as a rescue became a storm, a fire sweeping across the Empire's outer systems. Humanity's vengeance wasn't just precise. It was relentless. Every colony, outpost, station, or ship linked to the human trafficking network was marked and eradicated. They called it the Scorched Stars campaign. Admiral Reyes stood at the edge of the TSS Retribution's war map, eyes fixed on dozens of blinking red markers. Each marked a confirmed slaver hub, auction world, or corrupted vassal state that had trafficked Earth's children. The fleet was already halfway through the list. We've liberated 322 human children across 7 systems, reported Commander Lee. But the further we go, the worse it gets. Show me, Reyes ordered. The next transmission played. It was from Kovash Prime, a jungle moon. The footage displayed a makeshift coliseum. Crowds of aliens cheered from the stands as children, humans, were forced to fight wild creatures with knives. The crowd laughed as a girl screamed. Reyes didn't move. That world still exists. Not for long, Lee said grimly. Fleet Beta has surrounded it. Strike countdown at T-2 minutes. Reyes turned to the junior officer monitoring Earth's live response channel. What's the public saying? The officer hesitated. The world's unified. For the first time in history. Civil unrest is down. Enlistment's an all-time high. People are watching everything. Every strike. Every rescue. They're calling you the Sword of Earth. Reyes said nothing. He didn't care about titles. Only the mission. Across the Empire, fear spread like cracks in glass. Slave rings collapsed under the weight of sudden Terran justice. Auction houses were reduced to radioactive craters. Station masters fled into deep space, only to be caught by Spectre drones, Earth's autonomous AI assassins. They didn't speak. They didn't question. They simply ended targets and broadcast their names. And then came the Allies. On the marsh world of Ryek, for the Dreelith, a reptilian species long oppressed by the Empire, rose in revolt after Earth forces liberated a local breeding camp. In orbit, Reyes addressed their resistance leader. You want freedom? He asked. Help us burn the machine that kept you in chains. The Dreelith did more than agree. They bled beside Terran Marines, screamed human war chants, and painted Earth's emblem on their chests. Other species followed. The Talari nomads, the insectoid Shekvel, the enslaved Zionka tribes. They had suffered in silence. But Earth was different. Earth didn't negotiate with monsters. Earth hunted them. On board the TSS Mercy, a hospital ship trailing the front lines, a 10-year-old boy named Eli lay recovering in a stasis bed. His back bore whip scars. His wrists, metal burn rings. But his eyes were alive. He watched the war feed daily. A station falling, a slaver executed, children lifted from cages. It wasn't vengeance that filled him. It was relief. That Earth had not forgotten them. One evening, a nurse asked gently, "What do you want to do when you're better?" Eli looked out the viewport, watching another star flare as an enemy depot exploded. "I want to go back," he said. "Back? To help them. The kid's still out there. I want to fight." The nurse nodded quietly. She'd heard a dozen times already. The rescued didn't just want healing. They wanted justice. They wanted to join the flame. But the Empire was not silent. From the throne world of Saltherian, the Emperor of the Galactic Dominion, Zelkar XII, declared a universal decree. Humanity, he growled before the entire Imperial Holonet, is a disease, a virus that infects order with chaos. They breed rebellion, poison tradition, and now they threaten the heart of civilization. He raised his clawed hand and pointed skyward. Let them come. We will exterminate them down to the last child. No more mercy. But even his own people watched the footage of Earth's wrath, and fear bled into their veins. They'd enslaved 1,000 worlds and never paid the price. Until now. Reyes stood before his senior staff aboard the flagship. We've burned their fringe, he said. Now we go to the center. You mean Saltherian? Lee asked. Yes, we in this. But their star system is fortified. Orbital cannons, Imperial fleets, planetary defense grids. Reyes turned away, voice like cold iron. Then we bring the Sunhammer. Everyone went silent. It was Earth's most feared weapon, a myth to most. A mobile, starty stabilizer, a death sentence for any system arrogant enough to think they were safe. Reyes gave the order. Begin the approach. The day of reckoning. The stars above Saltherian were bleeding. From the bridge of the TSS Valiant, Admiral Reyes watched Earth's combined fleets warp into formation. 6 dreadnoughts, 40 cruisers, dozens of destroyers, stealth corvettes prowled the outer orbits. Behind them, like a grim silhouette in the void, loomed the Sunhammer, a kilometer-wide black crucible, humming with energy, pointed directly at Saltherian star. It wasn't a threat. It was a promise. Fleet formation holding, Commander Lee reported. Imperial battle groups are launching multiple squadrons on intercept. Planetary shield at full strength. They're ready. Reyes didn't look away from the view. So are we. On the surface of Saltherian, the Imperial High Council gathered in panic. The humans have brought a star killer, screamed one of the nobles. They mean to destroy our system. Lies, spat Emperor Zelkar, his voice cracked with disbelief. They wouldn't dare. They're still bound by diplomacy, by morality. A hologram flickered into the center of the war chamber. It was Reyes, cold-eyed, silent. He held up a single object, a blood-stained child's collar. The inscription, property of Zereth 9, Earthmade, Empire modified. Then his voice cut through every Imperial channel. Military, civilian, encrypted. You enslaved our children. We came to bring them home. You refused. Now, we bury your throne in the ashes of your son. The feed cut. The battle began instantly. Imperial carriers launched wave after wave of fighters, energy lances scorching through space. But Earth's war fleet moved like a precision machine. AI-assisted formations tore through them with railgun storms and EMP torpedoes. Terran cyber warfare crashed defense grids, turning orbital stations against their own fleet. Terran Marines boarded command ships. Inside the corridors of Imperial dreadnoughts, close-quarters battles erupted. Humans in black armor moving with ruthless efficiency. They didn't fight for glory. They fought for every child still shackled in the dark. Admiral, Lee shouted. Enemy fleets collapsing. 10 confirmed capital kills. Shields around Saltherian are weakening. Reyes nodded. Bring the Sunhammer online. Aboard the Sunhammer, Captain Vera completed activation protocols. The ancient machine, once built as a last resort during the interstellar Cold Wars, now came alive for the first time in human history. Its gravitational spear array unfolded like wings of judgment. The weapon didn't fire missiles. It fired entropy, a distortion field that destabilized stellar fusion. Targeting Saltherian's primary star, Vera said calmly. Firing sequence initiated. From its core, a pulse of invisible light shot across space and struck the heart of the star. At first, nothing happened. Then the sun screamed. Plasma storms rippled across its surface. The corona pulsed violently. Solar flares erupted in unnatural patterns. The balance of the star's fusion process fractured. Within minutes, the once stable star became a ticking bomb. On Saltherian's surface, the skies turned orange. The gravity shifted. Oceans pulled into the air. Light bent. Imperial citizens screamed as their world began to die. From orbit, Reyes received the final transmission from the Emperor. The alien's voice was frantic, begging. We surrender. We surrender. Please turn it off. Save us. Save our people. We'll give you reparations, the camps, the locations, everything. Reyes stared at the screen. You want to save your people now? He said quietly. Where was that mercy when our children begged you for the same? The Emperor's eyes filled with horror. Please, they're innocent. So were they. Reyes cut the feed. He gave the order. Begin evacuation protocols for all non-combatants and cooperative species. Any slavers, nobles, military leaders, leave them. Let them burn with the throne they built. 3 hours later, Soltherian went dark. Its sun collapsed into a white dwarf, blasting half the system into radioactive oblivion. The throne world of the Empire was consumed by solar fire. Its palaces and prisons melted into slag. The war was over, but the memory would remain. 6 months later, a quiet world named Arvenal became home to the new Interstellar Child Liberation Tribunal. The symbol of Earth, a burning chain, was carved into its gates. On the front steps stood a young boy in a clean Terran cadet uniform, Eli. He watched as new survivors arrived. Thin, frightened, but alive, just like he had once been. A nurse walked beside him. "You're early," she smiled. "I'm never late," Eli said softly. "They're still out there." He walked forward and welcomed the children with a nod that promised them everything Earth had learned to mean. Protection, justice, fire. Behind him stood a towering memorial to the children they tried to steal, and the fire that answered.